Okay, so first things first, I know I posted this on the community tab a little earlier today, but just to reiterate, today, May 4th, was Free Comic Book Day, and my local comic shop opened at 11 o'clock this morning, which was basically right as the kickoff show for this thing would have started. So by the time I had gotten through all that, gotten lunch and gotten back here, it was basically 11. It was almost noon, or maybe just past noon. So it would have just been starting, and there's no way I was going to be able to sort my stuff and get it, not quite put away, but get it into a ready position. And yeah, by that point, it's like, you know what, I'll just wait until the show's over and watch it from the, and just watch it delayed and put the video out later. Just made it a little bit more sense that way. So yeah, that's kind of what happened here. It also didn't help. There wasn't really a lot of hype for this show. Kind of hard to build or do storylines because they had the draft literally a week before, and so it's like, well, okay, you kind of know who's in and who isn't at this point, and if someone did switch brands and they were going for a championship, I mean, you know, pretty much lock out any possible title changes unless something can, except of course we'll get to it, but yeah, you can kind of see a little bit of the problem in this. I had completely forgotten that. I guess I hadn't forgotten it in the strictest sense of the term. I just, you know, it was not at the forefront of my mind. You know, if you're interested in the Free Comic Book Day stuff, maybe I'll do a video later this week on something like that. Okay, and a little bit of that. I don't know if I'll do it on camera or not, but there's still a few things I need to shake out. So yeah, that's kind of why everything's late. So sorry, but yeah, let's get to it anyway. Backlash 2024, aka Backlash France, because that's where this was held, was in Lyon. Overall, decent enough show. We started off with a tag match, Randy Orton and Kevin Owens versus the Bloodline of Solo Sikoa and Tama Tonga. It's probably the big story coming out of WrestleMania. Roman Reigns has gone into hiding. He left to shoot a movie. Yeah, in the wake of that, it seems that Solo Sikoa appears to be asserting himself as the new High Chief, and he has enlisted the aid of Tama Tonga, Haku's son, who obviously, if you haven't watched any of my previous wrestling videos, he was in New Japan, he was part of Bullet Club, tagged with his brother Tongaloa as part of a group called the Guerrillas of Destiny. They were on I think both AEW and a TNA Impact a few times. They got kicked out of Bullet Club in TNA. So, but yeah, that's kind of what's been going on here, and it seems like he's been doing this without the blessing of Paul Heyman, who is the one who willingly pulled Roman Reigns' name out of the draft pool for unknown reasons, as he has not actually talked to Reigns since WrestleMania, again, storyline-wise. And it does appear like, I'm thinking the way this is building up is they're trying to, this is, like obviously they were going to splinter the Bloodline at one point. They're going to have a group loyal to The Rock and a group loyal to Roman. And I think, you know, they're building for Solo and Tama Tonga, and maybe someone else, to be loyal to The Rock in this scenario. So yeah, and then there'll probably be a blow-off at War Games. Anyway, like I said, Heyman has just looked really uncomfortable throughout all of this. Right as the match started, a brawl immediately broke out. All the men were attacking each other. They tumbled out of the ring, just throwing big fists, causing a big ruckus. Security came down to try to break them up. Finally, Nick Aldis comes out and he says, you know what, we're just going to make this no DQ street fight go. And immediately, they brawl out into the stands. Owens attacked Tama Tonga with a chair. Eventually, Solo Sikoa gave Randy Orton the slip, and he and Tama Tonga double-teamed Kevin Owens. Orton came back. He attempted to headbutt the Pacific Islanders, which is a famously bad idea in professional wrestling. Orton did come back. He back suplexed Tama Tonga on the announce tables. Owens came back, hit a frog splash off the apron through an announce table. Solo Sikoa came back and hit a Samoan drop on, I want to say it was Owens through a table. Orton came in, he broke off a chair attack from Tama Tonga, hit his power slam DDT combo. He hit the RKO. Solo broke up the pin. Orton then countered a Samoa spike on the announce table and hit an RKO on the announce table. As this had happened, Kevin Owens had set up some chairs in the ring and hit a fisherman buster off the second rope through those chairs on Tama Tonga. As at this point, someone pulled the ref out of the ring, and it turned out it was Tongaloa, Tama Tonga's brother, who immediately then attacked both Orton and Owens with the ring steps. Solo got in the ring, hit an Owens with a Uranagi through a setup chair, and then hit the Samoan spike for the 3 count and the victory. This was a real fun match. This was a really good street fight. They did a good job, and I think they probably should have immediately gone into street fight at that point. I think the reason they didn't is because they had hyped up a street fight for Mania, and you don't want to do that in back-to-back shows, but again, given the way this was fighting, this is probably the way they needed to do it. Like I said, really fun. If I did have any druthers, there were some unprotected headshots in this that probably should not have been done. Again, you can't do that nowadays. And you can always say, oh, it's just once in a while. It's not meant to be all the time. It's like, it's still an unprotected headshot. It's still not good for you. But yeah. But other than that, yeah, like I said, this was really fun. I actually like the way this Bloodline thing is going. Later on, when Jey Uso was taking on Damian Priest before that, they had a little backstage moment where it seemed like Solo and the Tongans were letting Jey some support, but then as Heyman walked by, he looked at Jey and was just like, you know, something's wrong. We may actually need you to come back at some point. So, again, don't know where exactly this is going, but it does look to be very interesting. Okay, so our next match after that was a triple threat match for the Women's Championship. Bayley versus Naomi versus Tiffany Stratton. Sorry. Tiffany Stratton, yeah. Bayley and Naomi attempted a bunch of roll-ups right off the bat. Like, they all tried to get it. They all went for quick roll-ups. Bayley and Naomi then tried to double team Stratton, but it didn't quite work. As she fought back, she managed to dodge several maneuvers and use her innate agility to avoid any attack and cause them to hit each other. Bayley countered a corner splash and got clotheslined by Stratton. Stratton countered a suplex into an Alabama slam. She had Alabama slams on the announce tables at a later point in the match. They fought near the timekeeper area. Naomi hit a blockbuster off of the barricade on, I believe it was Bayley. Stratton had gotten an advantage at one point, but was playing to the crowd, which allowed Bayley to hit a torpe. Naomi hit a sit-down powerbomb on Stratton, but then Bayley hit an elbow drop off the top rope to break up the submission hold that was on after it. Bayley and Naomi actually teamed up and hit the 1D or the 3D, and that enabled them to kind of fight a little bit, and eventually it looked like Naomi was rolling Bayley into a victory roll type position, an O'Connell roll, my mistake, an O'Connell roll, but Bayley rolled through and got the pinning predicament on Naomi for the 3 count of the victory. This match was alright. I thought it was building somewhere, and then I think the ending kind of petered out. Like, I don't mind the idea of the roll through pin, but it kind of came very flat. It didn't seem to quite work. Afterwards, Naomi did seem to play some sportsmanship, shook Bayley's hand, raised it, got her in the ring. It looked like she may have gotten out a little awkwardly because the camera zoomed in on Bayley and then cut back out, and you could see Naomi was kind of on her knees trying to get back up. So I don't know, if she maybe just didn't get out of the ring right or what happened there. Maybe you need to pay attention to that. Like I said, overall, the match had some great moments. Unfortunately, there was a lot of kind of nothing in between that just, you're seeing where they're just trying to get to the next point. The crowd was definitely into it. this was a really hot crowd. There were times you could just not hear the announcers during any of these bits because the crowd was so pumped up and raucous. So definitely, it had its moments, but I think there was room for improvement. Okay, our next match was the World Heavyweight Championship match between Damian Priest and Jey Uso. Like I said, there was a backstage bit with the Bloodline before the match started. Right off the bat, Jey was doing his yeet chant. Priest immediately kind of went for the South of Heaven chokeslam. Tried to catch him off. Jey recovered, sent Priest into the barricade, and hit a torpe. So at this point, J.D. McDonough interfered in the match. He used the ropes to low blow Jey as he was getting back in the ring. Priest did a spear and got a 2 count. He then spotted McDonough and yelled at him as he had told him to stay out of the match. A little bit after this, just as Jey was again seeming to build up some momentum, he had hit a super kick. I think he was going for the Uso splash, but then Finn Balor interfered. The rest of Judgment Day is injured, so we'll get to that when we get there. But yeah, Balor interfered. Then enabled Priest to raise his edge only for a 2 count. Again, Jey came back. He had his super kick and Uso splash. Got it bit in there. It's then that after another Uso splash, McDonough pulled Damian Priest's foot on the ropes for the rope break. So it's then that they interfered one more time. And Priest hit the South of Heaven chokeslam from the top rope for the 3 count and the victory. And then afterwards, Balor and McDonough attacked Jey, but Priest called them off and told them, no, we're not doing that. So obviously they're planting the seeds for the Damian Priest babyface turn here. The other thing is, I don't know if you want to quite break up Judgment Day just yet. Again, with both Rhea Ripley and Dominic Mysterio now on the shelf, you could be short-circuiting their returns. A little bit. Like, I would at least wait until Rhea Ripley's come back before you initiate anything of that nature. Okay, so after that, it was the women's tag team match. The Kabuki Warriors of Asuka and Kairi Sane, representing Damage Control, versus Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill. Right off the bat, early on in the match, Bianca and Asuka ran into each other, and Asuka's body paint basically immediately transferred onto Bianca. So I don't think it was quite dry enough just yet. Early on, Belair avoided a clothesline, tagged Cargill in. Cargill hit Sane with a couple of Uranagi backbreakers. Sane fought back a little bit. When Bianca tagged back in, she was on the ropes, but Kairi Sane pulled her hair off, pulled Bianca's long ponytail off to get her off the ropes. A lot more fighting. Belair avoided a crossbody and a suplex. Eventually, Jade Cargill got tagged in. Hit a nice springboard crossbody. However, she got caught in between both Kabuki Warriors, who began pelting her with spinning back fists. The Kabukis did come back. They hit the insane elbow into the reverse DDT. Cargill broke the pin on that. And then eventually caught Kairi Sane in a seated senton position, wheeled her around, dropped her down into the jaded finisher for the 3 count and the victory. So, new women's tag team champions. I guess this is I'm not entirely sure how I feel about this in the sense that Damage Control is now titleless, and Io Sky isn't around right now, so it did seem like they were planning to go after Becky Lynch soon, but they're on Raw now because they got drafted over there. So that being said, we need more women's tag teams right now. I'd like to see someone other than Damage Control or Katana Chance and Kaden Carter, or I honestly don't know who else is a women's tag team at this point. I guess Indy Hartwell and Candice LeRae, that's the only other one. So yeah, all of those could be very viable opportunities, but still I think they need to start rebuilding this again to try to make it mean something. And it's just, I know it's been hard, but I think they can now, especially now that you know who's not in the company anymore. So again, I think there's something here, but let's wait how this plays out. I just hope they don't immediately drop it back to the Kabukis to set up that Jade's going to turn on Bianca, or Bianca turns on Jade. But yeah, let it at least last a couple of months, then do the switcheroo. And that leads us into our main event, the Undisputed Universal Championship match, Cody Rhodes versus AJ Styles. Again, I think this is where the build-up has not really worked for this show, unfortunately. Again, like this was done about 2 weeks ago, or maybe even 3 weeks ago, but they haven't done anything to really build anything up outside of, AJ won a tournament, but then he's never targeted Cody, like he's never really gone after Cody or anything to act like a heel. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, they opened up with some chain wrestling early on. Cody came back, hit a drop kick, and followed with a Stardust taunt, because I guess AJ had done that just last night. Cody came back with a Gourd Buster. Styles hit an armbar DDT, which tweaked Cody's shoulder. Cody eventually didn't fight back. He went for a superplex, but AJ fought out of it, and somehow Cody tweaked his back in the process. AJ tried to do a maneuver on the announce table. I guess it was maybe a Styles Clash, but Cody caught him and threw him into the ring steps, where AJ hit his lower back. Eventually Styles hit a drop kick into the counter disaster kick in the Ushigoroshi. Styles hit a suplex on the apron. Cody then came back though and hit a power bomb on Styles through the announce table, the French announce table in this case. Both men got dropped by kicks with each other. Styles blocked a Cody cutter and suplexed Cody into the turnbuckle. He then came back, he had a burning hammer, but Cody immediately kicked out at one. Styles hit another maneuver, he went for the phenomenal forearm, Cody countered it. He hit a super Cody cutter off the top rope and followed with the crossroads for 3 count of victory. Like I said, overall, good match, fun, but it didn't seem to tell a story or anything. Like, you didn't see AJ slinking away dejected again, just waiting for his or wanting to attack or anything of that nature. Basically, though, the crowd was singing Cody's song, and that's kind of how it ended. They didn't build to anything, and so again, it just kind of fell flat. The women's tag match felt the same way. Again, fun, but it's like I don't know what you're going to be doing after this, and you should be sort of setting up a long-term feud for Cody here, and they really aren't. And I think that's where it's not really working. Again, if you want it to be AJ, that's fine. It could be AJ. I don't mind it, but just, that's where this isn't clicking too well. I think having the draft be a week before this show didn't help this at all. Because again, anytime you're going to set something up, not to mention, the only 5 matches on this show for a premium live event. Like, I am totally against match overkill. If you've ever seen my critiques of AEW shows, that's my main complaint, is that they're putting 12, 14 matches on these things, and they don't need that much. But this show, I think, could have done better with at least one more match. Like, it doesn't have to be a major one. Like, why didn't we get Zayn and Gable for the IC title? Like, weren't we building towards that? Like, that's been the one big story I've noticed from Raw, this entire time. Nothing. I know we're starting the King and Queen of the Ring tournament. That's the next show after this, but, well, I'll get to that. But, again, like, why wasn't the IC title on the line? Okay, I'm not opposed to Logan Paul not being on this, but again, there's no U.S. title. We could have had either the Raw or SmackDown Tag Team Championships be defended here. I think that would have worked fine. Again, just something, because this show went by really fast, and yet it still says I have like an hour left to watch. I can't imagine there's really anything interesting. I know they announced that WrestleMania isn't coming to Minneapolis like they promised. It's on in Vegas, thanks to the terrible weather they had in Philadelphia. But yeah, it was it's overall, like I said, the show was not bad. I'm not complaining. The matches for the most part were good. I'd say the only one that really disappointed was that women's triple threat match. That just was so boring. But the other ones were all fun and enjoyable in their own ways. But yeah, it just, like I said, it screamed of, we just had to throw something on in this. Maybe they should have given this another couple weeks to build. I mean, I think that would have helped, again, just build something so that this feels important and not just, we have to have this show in France, which it kind of felt more like. So yeah, I'm going to be giving Backlash 2024 France a C. Like I said, it's not terrible. It's not, the worst thing ever, but it definitely could have been better. And like I said, in terms of long, it felt like filler. That's what it is. That's what I'm trying to say there. Okay. Alright, so the next video is going to be the X-Men 97 review. It's probably going to be next week because that's when I believe the season finale airs. Because I think they're up to episode, well, they did 2 episodes, yeah. I know it's a 10-episode season, and they did the first 2 episodes right away. After that, it's probably going to be the first few episodes of Doctor Who. And then the random trade review on Usagi Yojimbo, the Dragon Bellow. And then, wrestling-wise, we're going to return to NXT. We haven't done NXT in a long time, so it's probably time we head back. There's been a lot of changes that happened. But that's going to be NXT Battleground, which is on June 9th. And then almost a week later, on the 15th, it's Clash at the Castle. So we'll be doing that next. I'd like to try to do another AEW show, but again, money's not... Well, I have been able to resume my job. Like, obviously, money's not going to be there for a while. So, yeah, probably no Wrestle Kingdom this year or anything like that. Yeah, that's pretty much it for now, I guess. See you all next time.
Hey guys, remember you can help me maintain and possibly even expand my professional wrestling coverage by supporting me on Patreon at patreon.com/SleepyTime for Camp Productions. Also, remember to like the video, comment, share, subscribe, and ring that notification bell.